Hi guys, I'm back with another tutorial, and this is more of a paper crafting tutorial which you can, make cards out of or wedding invitations out of. Now this showcases the newly launched Craftangles wedding dies. So here what I'm doing is I'm taking the notelet part. So these are Craftangles notelets of slimline dies, and I'm using so there are two options available, 250 GSM and 300 GSM. Anyone will work. You can use 250 or 300, whatever works for you. So how this comes is basically it has an insert which is the card base of slimline card size, and it has an envelope which is of the same size. So what I have decided is I am using the base as a base for my wedding invitation. So I will further change it a bit to make a wedding invitation out of it, and then the envelope I'll be using as a cover of my wedding invitation. So here I'm showing you my logic, and what I'm doing is basically I'm going to add an insert inside the slimline. So the slimline is 8.5 inches by the length what is available. However, I don't want that long of a length. I just want a small pocket that I'm creating. So I'm using the height as 1.5 inch, and these are the dimensions that I'm using and the logic that I'm using. You can definitely take a screenshot of the same and use it. I will also have the screenshot of the calculation added on my blog in case you want to have a look at it. So basically I'm scoring at the places that I decided, which was half inch from bottom and half inch from both the sides, and this will create the pocket mechanism for our inside of the wedding invitation. And then I'm just cutting off the corners. This is a very simple basic way of creating pockets. Most of you would already know, but in case those of you who are new and who don't know about how to make pockets, you can definitely check out my blog post where I have the complete dimensions etc mentioned, and the blog post link will be in that of the video. So now whatever crease lines that I have created, I am adding some red tacky tape so as to stick that to the base or to the inside of my slimline card, and that will create the pocket where my wedding invitations leaflets will go. So what I plan to do is I want to create an Indian wedding card, right? So you will have multiple functions like shadi, reception, mehendi, etc., and those leaflet will go inside this pocket. So that is the idea. Okay, now we will first decorate the front of the wedding card, and for that I'm using these pearl cardstocks. Now I have already used these pearl cardstocks in my earlier wedding cards and wedding invites that I have made in past couple of weeks using the same dies. Now these are old, you could say very old paper, like I've been having these for more than 8 to 10 years now. So these are just some pearl cardstock that I got from a stationery store locally. However, you could use any glitter paper, pearl paper of your choice. Unfortunately, I won't be able to link these papers because as I said, they were locally bought years back. So I'm using the combination of cream and red for my wedding invitation. Throughout you will see those colors repeating because those are very traditional colors that I wanted to use, and they will look good with the white base which we are using as our slimline base, right? So here I'm decorating the inside of the flap which we just created, as well as on outside paper. So sorry for my head coming there for a minute. I just wanted to make sure everything lines up because I did not want a lot of white border to show through. So I'm using the same size of the cream paper as that of the slimline card size. Now the next thing that I'm doing is I am cutting out the Bharat scene. So this, according to me, is a must have and a very basic die for any people who like to make Indian wedding cards, whether you want to make custom envelopes, which I'll be showing you soon, like to give out money to people in wedding, or you like to make custom cards, or even if you like to make custom invitations. These wedding dies recently launched by Craftangles is a must have. So what I'm doing over here is I'm using this Bharat scene which will come on the top of the card base that we have created, the wedding card invitation base, and that will form the front of the scene of the base. Now I wanted to add dimension to this particular scene. And I did not want to use foam tape because in certain areas this particular border is very intricate, right, in like where the dolly stands are there, etc. So if I add foam tapes only on the thick parts, what will happen is while removing the invitations or while putting the invitations, it may happen that the uh, thinner parts of the die may break off, and since it's a wedding invitation you would want it to be quite sturdy. So that is why I am cutting out the same die shape, which is the barat shape, from foam. So this is craft foam. I am using the natural white color, and it looks a bit white here, probably because of the lightning. And then what I'll do is I will stick the red piece on top of this white foam tape. So it will give me dimension, plus it will also make the thin parts very sturdy, so that it can take the wear and tear when many people will open the invitation or close the invitation. So that was the idea for which I went with a foam sheet rather than a foam tape. However, if you think foam tape makes sense for you, you can definitely use that. Again, link of all the products, whether it be die, craft foam, trimmers, the base, etc. I will link that below for you all. So here you can see that while sticking the foam base, sorry, with the red piece, I'm making sure that I'm maneuvering the piece in such a way that it sticks properly on top of the foam and minimal white can show through. Now this white do add to the dimension, and it creates like a shadow like effect, so it's an added plus. So I definitely like the way, this particular way to add dimension. And normally with this kind of, when you are sticking a foam sheet die cut piece on top of your paper die cut piece, make sure you use liquid glue rather than tapes, because you have enough time to maneuver your piece to make sure that everything is lined correctly, especially in such kind of dies which are quite long and quite big. So now that I have everything ready, I stick this using some Fevicol on top of my base. So this forms the front of my wedding invitation, and now we will work to create the inside pockets. Okay, so for inside pockets, what I'll do is I'm going to use some handmade paper, just because they look very pretty. Now this is from a brand called Lotus, which is very commonly available in Indian stationery stores, especially in North India, and I got it from there when I had gone for a trip long time back. So while making these videos, my ideas was to kind of use out all the old papers that I had. So here, just to create the deckled edge, I initially tried to wet it with water and then try to tear it off, but since this is handmade paper, it was kind of difficult to do this. It's easier to do it with a cardstock. So what I'm doing is, then I'm using my scissor and kind of creating a 4 deckled edge using scissors. So here I'm just using scissors and just randomly creating a deckled edge to create a more handmade like a feel, and kind of more of a scripty kind of a look for the inserts, because that is what I was going for. And here what I'm assuming is, if you are making a wedding invitation, one side of it is already printed with all the details. I'm not showing that, of course, because this is not a real wedding invitation card that I'm making. But if you are making one using the same concept, I would suggest that you get them printed first on a paper, then cut those paper to the size of your slimline inserts, and then you create this deckled edge, etc. And then you follow the process further. So you'll see what I mean about printing once we complete the insert, so please bear along. Also, I wanted to say that this video is quite long because from my traditional videos, because we are trying to make a wedding invitations, which is a multi-step process. So I hope you stay throughout this tutorial with me on the same. And in case if you have any queries, please feel free to comment down below and I'll be happy to reply the same. So now, just to add more fun to the inserts, because of course I did not want to keep the inserts plain, and since I'm using the concept of gold, cream and reds throughout, I wanted the same to be shown on my inserts as well. So what I'm doing is I'm adding the foil magic in the edges of that deckled edge paper that we created, the handmade inserts, and I'll let this dry for a couple of minutes, and then I'll stick gilding flakes on top of it. So what this does is, if you would have seen, there are many calligraphy artists who make wedding cards, right? So they this idea came from them. I saw a lot of tutorials on Instagram where people, kind of create this cornered gilding flake kind of a look on paper, and then they write with calligraphy in between. Now, of course, I'm really bad at writing, and I'm really bad at calligraphy, so I'll not do that. Rather, we will do some die cutting and printing to create our inserts. Now, if you are a calligraphy artist, you like to add foils, so golden letters, etc., then you can definitely use this foil magic to, first do some brush lettering and then add foils or gilding flakes on top of it for added effects. We have a lot of tutorial on Handmade channel where our designers have done that, our hand lettering designer. So here you can see that, I have added those 3 inserts. I've added foil magic on the edges, and I'm letting them dry for a couple of minutes, like probably 5 to 7 minutes. Once they are dry, you can see that, they have kind of gone clear, and they look very shiny. So here, just to contain a mess, since gilding flakes does a lot of mess and I don't want a lot of mess on top of my table, I am using a box, and inside that I'll be doing all my gilding flake work. So this is a good hack for those of you who don't like to clean the glitter mess. Whenever you are using glitters or things like gilding flakes, try to do it in a box so that you are kind of containing the mess inside the box, and then you can reuse the box again and again whenever you are doing gilding flakes or glitter work. So here you can see what I'm doing. I'm using some craft angles gold gilding flakes, and I'm kind of first sticking it on the edges. So I am kind of pouncing it on top of where we have stick gilding glue on the edge of our paper. And then what I do is I take a stiff brush. So this is an old brush that I normally use for applying my gesso, etc. Over the time it has become a bit stiff. So I'm using that to remove the excess of the gilding flakes from the paper. So honestly, just a tip again for you all, for those of you who like to do gilding flakes, be it on your decoupage project, calligraphy project, invitations, paper crafting, etc. So basically you can see gilding flakes you can use in anything. And one thing that I notice is a lot of people try to use specialized brushes for this. However, honestly, you don't need any. A stiff brush, a stiff paint brush which you use will work. I kind of use this brush here for removing the excess gilding flakes. I will also use the same while I'm painting my gesso. So kind of I reuse my paintbrush. I honestly don't need special paintbrush for applying gilding flakes, but again, if that is something you like, you do you. So one side what I have done is I have coated with gold gilding flakes, and on the second side what I'm doing is I am adding the red and gold gilding flakes just for some interest, because I felt there was a lot of gold going on in the base or the leaflets, and there was not enough red, which we have used, if you remember, in the die, right? So we want to reuse the red again throughout our card just to make everything look cohesive. So that is why I'm using this dual colored gilding flakes, which I honestly really love how it turned out. It literally made it a wedding card in minutes. Before that it looked nice and glamorous, but after adding this red and gold gilding flakes, it took it to another level. So here what I'm doing is I'm repeating the same process that I did with golden gilding flakes. I'm taking the gilding flake and I'm kind of pouncing it with my hand in the areas where I have added the foil magic, which is on the corners. So the whole idea is, on the one side I have the gold gilding flakes, and on the other side I have the red and gold gilding flakes. Now remember, if you are doing a wedding invitation using the same concept, make sure that your papers are printed first before you do this. What I mean is that your leaflet is printed with all the venue details, the timing of the function, etc. Since this is a sample one, my both sides are blank. So I'm sticking, as you can see, the gilding flakes on the corner, and I'm being very liberal about it. However, you'll see that most of it comes off, so you're not using a lot of product. You can literally go on making a lot of sheets with this gilding flakes, and it will last you very long. So this dual ones, you will see once I start removing here the excess gilding flakes, it really looks very pretty. Also, make sure, one thing that I forgot to tell you is, let's say your pocket size is 8 inch by let's say 3 inches for example, then make sure that your inserts are slightly smaller, so that your insert should be like 7.5 inches in width. You can keep the height same, because at the end of the day it doesn't matter, your pocket will completely slide in. But I would suggest that reduce like half of inch on both sides, so that your pockets can slide easily inside, so that your inserts can slide easily inside the pocket. Again, all the measurements and details of the insert, the pocket, etc. is available on my blog, so don't you worry. You can go there and read, and you can follow the same process using the same products. But let's say you are doing a custom size, then whatever pocket size you create, make sure that your inserts are half inches less on both the sides, the height as well as width, so that the things can easily slide in and slide out, and you can have multiple inserts being added without any issue of bulk. So now here is another die that I am using, and this will create the calligraphy part, which I said I'm really bad at, right? So I would not want to write things on top of it. So I would want something that I can use easily to create the leaflets, basically to mention the what is the function all about in the leaflet. So that is why I'm using this wedding sentiment border. I have cut it out using the same red paper that I used for the wedding border die, and it cuts out like I think 8 to 10 sentiments, which includes all the wedding functions and Mr. and Mrs. Dulha Dulhan and things like that. Again, all the dies that I'm talking about, or the products, are linked below. The one that I'm using 3 sentiments over here, which is Shadi, Sagai and Reception. I kept it very basic. You can of course expand this and make like 10-12 leaflets, whatever you want, which I'll be doing in my another video. I'll show you the same die, and I will show you another way in which you can make very beautiful leaflets for all the functions. That is also a super cool project which will be coming soon. But here I'm using Sangeet, Shadi and Reception as my leaflets. So here you can see how pretty the die cutting has come. Even though it's intricate, it has cut out those words beautifully. And again, to keep my inserts flat, I'm using Fevicol to stick the same on top of my leaflets. So the idea is, on the front of the leaflet you will have written Sangeet like so, and on the back you will have insert stating the venue details, timing, etc. So on one side you will have the function name, and on the other side you'll have the function details. So that was the idea. I hope you got it, even though it's blank. If you are making a real wedding invitation card, you will have to get the details printed. And of course, you can go out of the town and do foiling on top of it using reactive foil, etc. There are so many ways in which you can jazz up and make a wedding invitation card. It would all depend on what your budget is. So now that our inserts and the wedding invitation is ready, we move on to the envelope part, right? The envelope, we still need to decorate it. So this is the slimline envelope base that we are using. I'm using a ready-made envelope base, and then what I'm doing is I have cut out the red paper. This is the same red paper that we have used for our wedding border die cut. So I'm using here the inverse. So I'm using the cream die cut and the red base, and I'm sticking this cream wedding border or barat die cut, and I'm sticking it on top of the red base, and this then I'll stick on the top of the envelope. So what this does is it kind of adds contrast, because my outside envelope is complete contrast in terms of colors as compared to the inner one, and it uses the same colors again. So it kind of repeats the colors and keeps everything cohesive. And it's a very simple design, however it still looks pretty and elegant because we have used bright and bold colors. So now just to add a little bit of dimension, because on the envelope I can easily add dimension, right, without having any issues. So I'm just adding some blue foam tape on top of it. And here is how the complete invitation looks. I'm showing you the video of, I'll take you through the complete wedding invitation here just to show you how it looks. So that was the video for today, guys. I know it's comparatively longer than my usual ones. I hope you stuck to the end, and I hope this particular video gave you some ideas. I leave you with lots of images so that you can see how beautiful it looks when I shoot the close-ups, and I'll see you in my next tutorial. Till then, guys, take care. Bye bye. Also, if you do like my videos, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, especially because I would love to know what your thoughts are on my projects and what you would like to see next. I could definitely do something. I'll see you in next time, guys. Take care.